every app you pay for every month, somebody else hosts it, controls it, and charges you forever. This one I host myself on my own box for nothing a month. So today I will show you how to self-host your first app from scratch. We will use Docker Compose, and no, don't worry, you don't need any container experience. Here's the bit to stick around for. The first time you type an address and your own app loads, that's the moment it clicks. I'm Mark, and let's host something. Okay, let me be straight with you up front. Self-hosting isn't really about saving money. You do it to own your data, to control it. So it can't just vanish the day some company changes its mind. And honestly, it's to learn. The no subscription thing is a nice bonus. It's not the main reason, because if someone sold you self-hosting as save money, that's the wrong reason. And it's exactly why people quit the first time it gets fiddly. Now, a quick picture before we build. A container is just an app in a box. Everything it needs to run is packed inside. And Docker is the thing that runs the boxes. So, what is a compose file? It's like a recipe. A short text file that describes the app you want. That is the whole mental model. So, let's use it. Now, let's build the machine first. We start in Proxmox. In the top right, we select Create VM. This wizard is just us answering a few questions about the computer we want to invent. Let's give it a name, point it at the Ubuntu installer image. Then the only choices that matter today are how much muscle it gets. A couple of processor cores, a couple of gigs of memory, and a small disk. For the first app, modest is fine. Now let's confirm, and Proxmox spins up an empty machine. Brand new, nothing on it yet. We hit start and open the console, which is just a window straight into that machine screen. Now the machine boots the Ubuntu installer. This part is a lot of pressing enter on sensible defaults, so I'm going to speed through it. The one screen worth slowing down on is this one. Your name, a name for the server, and most importantly, a username and password. Write these down. This is the account you will log in with for everything after this. One box to tick on the way through, install OpenSSH server. That is what lets us connect to this machine from our normal desktop later, instead of living inside this little console window. Then it installs, and this is the part where the computer will work and you get a coffee. I'm compressing a few minutes into a few seconds here. The machine reboots, and right here in the Proxmox console we log in once with that account we just made, just to prove it works. And notice this line, it tells you the machine's IP address. Write it down, we need it in about 2 seconds. Now, I could do everything from this console window, but I'm not going to. And here's the honest reason. You cannot paste into the Proxmox console, and the next few steps are all copy-paste from Docker's website. By hand typing long commands is how you get typos and a bad afternoon. So instead, on my normal Windows machine, I open the terminal and connect to the server over SSH. That is what the OpenSSH box we ticked earlier was for. SSH, your username, at the IP. The first time, it will ask you if you trust this machine. Type yes, and then your password. Now we are on the same machine, in the same shell, but now I am in a real terminal that copies and pastes. Everything from here is just paste and enter. First thing on any fresh machine, update everything. It's just one command, now let it run. Now Docker. I am not going to make you memorize this. We will follow Docker's own official install page, copy the block, paste it in, and that sets up Docker's repository and installs the engine plus the Compose plugin in one go. A couple of minutes later and Docker is on the machine. Now a quick sanity check, straight from the docs. Sudo docker run hello world, and if you get this hello from Docker message, the engine is alive and working. Notice I had to put sudo in front of it. Hold that thought, it will matter in a minute. Here's where it gets satisfying. We're going to describe the app we want in a tiny text file and let Docker build it. Think of this file as a recipe card. It will list the one app, where to get it, and which door to open. The file is called docker-compose.yml and we make it with Nano. 6 lines. Let me read them because each one is plain English. Image is which app to download. Here a tiny demo web page. Container name is just what we call it. Ports is the important one. The app inside the box answers on door 80 and we are wiring that to door 8080 on the machine itself. Remember, 8080. It comes back in about 30 seconds. And restart unless stopped means if the machine reboots, the app comes back on its own. Now let's save and exit. One command launches it. docker-compose up -d. Let's run it. Permission denied. It cannot even talk to Docker. And we just ran Docker a minute ago. So what gives? Remember the sudo I made you hold on to? That is this. Out of the box, Docker only listens to the root user. A minute ago it worked because I put sudo in front of it. Without sudo, you are not allowed in. The lazy fix is to just run it as root. Sudo, then bang bang, which reruns your last command, with sudo in front of it. Now it works. But typing sudo in front of every Docker command forever is not the answer. The proper fix is in Docker's own post install guide. Add yourself to the Docker group, so your normal user is allowed to talk to Docker directly. Just 2 lines. One is create the Docker group, which probably already exists, and that's fine. Then add your user to it with usermod -a G Docker. Then the step people skip, that group change only takes effect on a fresh login. So I drop the SSH connection and reconnect. Now my user is in the group. And the project, run the exact same command again, no sudo this time. So the app is running and let's go back at it in a browser. First I need the machine's address. If you lost it from earlier, IPA gives it to you again. There it is. So I open a browser, type in the IP address, hit enter and nothing. The site can't be reached. And this is exactly where most people think they broke something and give up. You did not break anything. Remember the door number from the recipe? 8080? The app is not sitting at the front door, it is sitting at that specific door. A web browser knocks on the default door automatically, so you have to tell it which one to use. You add a colon and a port to the end of the address. Same IP, colon 8080, enter, and there it is. Your first self-hosted app in the browser. That colon and number is a single thing I see trip up every beginner. Now you will never lose 10 minutes to it. That is a real application on the server that you control. From about 10 lines of text file. No subscription, no account on someone else's cloud, it's all yours. Remember that little note-keeping app? The one I used to write down my server details in the last video? Let's actually deploy that. So you got a real home for your docs, instead of a text file rotting on your desktop. This is PrivateGlue, an open source notes and doc app. Good projects give you a ready-made recipe, so here's mine on GitHub. It looks longer, but it's the same shape you already understand, with 2 new IDs. New ID 1 is volumes. A container is a sealed box, and when you delete it, everything inside vanishes. Volumes are like folders on the real machine that live outside of the box. So your notes and backups survive even if you rebuild the app. That's the difference between a toy and something you trust your data on. New ID number 2 is a health check. That is an app telling Docker how to check its own pulse, so Docker knows if it's actually alive, not just running. Nice to have, but it's not required. And you do not need a separate file per app. I drop PrivateGlue in as a second service right under the hello one. It's the same recipe card, but 2 dishes. Up-d one more time, and Docker only starts what is new. And in the browser, it's the same IP, but this time door 5000. There's a real app asking me to create my account. And that's the screen from the very start of this video. Congratulations, you just built it. So a quick recap, you've got your containers, you've got your compose, and you got a real app running on a box that you own. But here's the catch. Right now, this only works inside your own house. The second you're on mobile data, that address goes nowhere. Reaching it from anywhere safely, without poking holes in your network, that's a whole topic of its own. And it's the very next thing you're gonna want. If you want to go further, properly and in order, the Docker path on Mailman's Labs walks you through it. It's free, it's hands-on, and I will link it down below. I'm Mark, and go host something.